Hi friends, it's Deanna Williston from Our Blooming Catholic Life. It's week 2 of this shelter in place during the pandemic, and I don't know about you, but this week has been harder for me. So last week I made a lot of concessions and tried to figure out how to just coexist with everybody else being at home. And one of the things I do now, my husband is literally wearing a bell. I don't know if you've seen that video. He's wearing a bell so I hear him before he comes, because he was literally startling me when suddenly he was in the room. Because usually I have music playing and I'm dancing and singing, and that's how I get my chores done, right? And with the even without the music playing, I'm still singing it in my head. And so when somebody else is suddenly in the room, it was startling for me. The bell system has worked. Thank God for revealing that to us with cats. So that's worked out pretty well, but the no music thing was not working. It's been a really rainy week where I am. It's cold, it's rainy, and I don't know. It's just been kind of blah. So I needed music, and this morning I definitely needed something to get me out of bed. And so I played What Does the Fox Say? And if you've ever seen the video, it's a pretty weird thing. It's kind of like some bizarre ritual going on. And then they keep saying, we know the noises everybody else makes, and the fox makes all these sounds, but we don't know what they mean. And we don't know what is the essence of the fox in the sound is kind of what they're getting at. They're like, fox, he draws me into the woods. He's so beautiful. He's like an angel. And I'm trying to understand him, and I can't. And it's funny because I'm pretty sure that it's not a Christian song, but it speaks to that longing. And we've been talking lately about how God reveals himself to us in nature. And I think this song is a perfect example. If you're not familiar with the song, I apologize. I originally had this video with little music clips in it, and YouTube is not currently being staffed by people. A lot of the work is being done by robots, and the robots were like, nope, too much music. And so I got in trouble. So I have to refilm the whole thing without the music. So I originally had a little clip of it so that you could hear it. It's a very catchy song. If your kids hear it, they are going to be singing it and driving you insane. So don't listen to it in front of the kids, because it's super, super catchy. If you didn't like Baby Shark, you're not going to like What Does the Fox Say? But the song does have a lot of truth about the fox. He does make a lot of really interesting noises. They don't just have one noise, and that's the thing. Even a dog doesn't have one noise, right? We learn one essential noise that an animal makes. It's kind of different because each culture sees that noise a little bit different, and you can tell that in the song. The song comes out of Norway or Sweden or something, I think. And so some of the animal sounds that they give, you're like, what? Because they're not what our culture says. And it's kind of like that, right? God reveals himself to us. And like we talked about, icons are like one image. Even the different words we even use for God are different. But they're different in a Christian way because we have the Trinity, right? The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, who are one, but 3 persons at the same time. And so some people have issues going to God the Father, right? But they can get along with Jesus' Son. And some people, the Spirit is easier to commune with. But either any one of the 3 that you might build a relationship with should be leading you into relationship with God the Father. Ultimately, you should have a relationship with all 3. And it's such a beautiful teaching. And I love that the song, What Does the Fox Say, talks about going into the woods and trying to seek and find out the secrets of the fox. And so often, again, in the Bible, we hear like God called Israel out into the wilderness. Like he called them from Egypt into the wilderness, into the desert, to learn about him, to be able to worship him. Being able to worship God was not just the physical act of going and doing it. They had to learn in their hearts what it meant to worship God. And it was not easy, right? They tried for 40 years, and God was like, oh, they just can't get it. And he kept trying. And sometimes it takes time because you have to peel away all those worldly layers until you can just even hear the voice of God, right? And I kind of feel like it speaks so much to this time. It's already Lent, And now we're in this period where we're deprived of the world. You're in your house. You can go out for certain things, right? In emergencies. And even the people who were forced to be out and working in it, they're very much probably hardcore working, whether it's in a grocery store. I mean, I saw some people who, like, the farmers were stocking their own shelves where normally they might have an employee do that. You know what I mean? And people are doing things that aren't their jobs. There are people who are laid off who are, yes, working in grocery stores because of the huge demand. There are people working in healthcare that may be retired people. I've heard they're calling some retired doctors back into service. So not something they normally do. And it's not like they have free time and it's like, la, 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 and they have their headphones on and they're jamming out as they're doing stuff, I'm sure. I'm sure they're very focused. They're not in the world. They're sheltering in place almost in their jobs, right? Even my husband, he's technically home, but I don't know how that we're really seeing more of him because he's in the office with the door shut and he's doing conference calls all day, right? So you can't just walk in because he's on a phone call. And so we're all kind of in the desert in our own ways and spending that time however we can growing closer to God, whether it's through service to our fellow man, or I know a lot of people are taking this time to do a lot of good religious reading. They're doing that flying novena, right, of the 9 Divine Mercy chaplets in a day. People are doing the rosary every day. People are doing live stream adoration. People are doing multiple masses. God bless you if you're a priest offering mass to live stream it. And I think some of the priests had heard our call, like maybe not everybody stream at 9 a.m. Eastern time. Could we mix it up? Because some of us are trying to take advantage of multiple masses. It's kind of funny because, live mass is best, right? In person. Live stream is second best. And recorded is probably third best. So I think if people are live streaming it, they're trying to live stream multiple ones. And it's a great opportunity for us to hear from different priests from around the world. And so we do want that varying time. Of course, I don't have my phone with me now. On an earlier version, when I taped this, if you go to MarianMissionaries.org, they have a schedule set up for Monday through Saturday when they're going to have adoration and then morning prayer. 3 o'clock is the Divine Mercy Chaplet, and I want to say 5:15 is Mass and 5:50 is evening prayer. I'm not 100% on any of that. Again, I did memorize the site at least. It's MarianMissionaries.org. And then they have a different Sunday schedule. I think their Mass is going to be like at 11 or 11:30 Eastern time. So that's a little bit different than everyone else. So hopefully you can get out and watch that one. And again, they're going to have evening prayer on Sundays. I think EWTN is also showing evening prayer on Sundays. So lots of great opportunities. I know a lot of people are totally taking advantage of this instead of chasing things in the world, right? Because there's still some people, though, who are like, I am going to find that plush toilet paper. I'm not going with this cheapo stuff, right? They want the good stuff. Well, it's funny because the good soft toilet paper, isn't good for our septic system and waterway anyway. So maybe us all switching to the cheapo toilet paper is actually better for all of us. And maybe those extravagant foods we don't really need. A lot of us are really getting back to basics. And the song that I had chosen for this moment was the Love Song for a Bride by Brother Isaiah, where he talks about Israel chasing after all these worldly things, right? Because in the Bible, Israel does. It's kind of like, even when they're in the desert, it's like, remember that great stuff we had? They knew how to worship gods of Egypt. And so they made the golden calf because that was what familiar. That's what they knew. So they wanted something shiny and gold that they knew how to worship, something they knew how to do, right? God called them out of Egypt to worship him, and they still didn't know it in their hearts. All they could remember was the rituals of Egypt. They'd forgotten their ways. They'd lost their way when they were in Egypt. And so even while they were preparing, they were consecrated, they'd wash themselves, cleanse themselves, and they're waiting for Moses, and they just can't wait. They just couldn't wait that time. They just couldn't do it. Can we wait that time? Can we wait that time now for the Eucharist? Can we wait? It's coming back. we'll be able to have the Eucharist, not just in spiritual communion, but physically we'll be able to have communion again. We'll be able to be in the presence of the angels that are coming down to the Mass, right? We'll have that moment of heaven again. We will have it. Can we wait? Or are we going to instead just sit around all day in our jammies, eating ice cream and watching junk on TV? Are we going to wait? Are we going to wait? Lots of us are trying very hard. There's a priest I heard this morning on Twitter who was saying, you guys are under enough stress with this pandemic. Let your Lenten sacrifices go. You don't have to do them anymore. No, like, this is an opportunity to give more. Maybe switch some things up if you need to. Like maybe the thing you were giving up, you can't actually get now anyway. So whatevs. So pick something else, right? It's not the time to abandon them. No, we can wait. We can do this. And if you're struggling, you could be home completely alone and you're struggling. I beg you to reach out to friends or someone. If there's any chance you have Twitter, #Catholic Twitter is amazing. The priests that are out there, the sisters that are tweeting are so uplifting. They're so beautiful. And people are putting prayer requests up there whenever they need them. Catholic Twitter is the best thing I've ever found. I used to use Twitter just for professional development for teacher, to get these news articles and stuff. But Catholic Twitter has been so uplifting for me. I know on Instagram, I'm only trying to put beautiful pictures, mostly of nature, but also my dog and my bunnies. Yeah, so we can do this waiting, and if you're struggling, pray to God that we can wait. And the song that I used that got me in trouble here was "Stay" by Big Daddy Weave. And that's the struggle there. Like, can we stay in this moment when it's over? Like right now we're trying to stay penitential and to focus on the Lord and to be hungry in the Lord. And when we come out of this, I don't want us to take the Lord for granted again. I don't want to take Mass for granted ever again. I don't want to take all these wonderful opportunities we have to serve each other for granted. I don't want to lose this sense of community. I want it to stay. And we're going to have to pray for that too. So friends, I pray for all of us. And I'm not trying to discount the pandemic. Absolutely, we need to be praying for all those people like Dan Burke from EWTN, who he's on a ventilator right now. He may not make it. Right? We're praying for him, but also all those spiritual orphans out there that don't have anyone to pray for them. They're talking about converting in some countries schools and churches into hospital centers. But I don't want to stop praying for all these spiritual orphans when this is done. I don't want to stop praying. I want to remember to pray for others always. I don't want to lose this. I don't want to lose this moment, this hunger for the Lord, this sense of community and responsibility to my fellow man. I don't want to lose this fraternal world that we seem to be building now. I don't want to lose this. And so that's my prayer for you all, friends. I'm sorry I went a little over. It's a little harder for me without that music. But I pray that during this time, people hear the call of the Lord and they go out and they search for him and they find those beautiful resources that are out there to lead them to God, that this natural epidemic is somehow revealing God to them, sending them, putting him on their heart that they may hear him and hunger for him. And they can experiment by watching the different masses in a low-key environment. No stress, right? For them, no stress. Nobody needs to know. And hopefully it builds a hunger for the Eucharist inside them so that when this time of quarantine is over, that they're willing to go to the Mass, seek the Lord, right? Sign up for RCIA. Oh, God bless you, friends. So remember to pray for each other and pray that this fraternal world, this Catholic fraternal world that seems to be simmering right now, will come to fruition, right? That will be this beautiful thing that we will be able to hold on to when this is over. God bless, friends. Oh, and if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and I'll try and throw some other videos over here. God bless. Bye.